It's been super lonely and you have no one to bounce ideas off of. That's what you've been experiencing, right? You're on a level up journey, but you have no other friends that are trying to be elegant or are on a level up journey themselves. And so when you're trying to maybe look more elegant, you don't really have anyone to send those photos to. When you're trying to work on your etiquette, really everybody else around you is just kind of acting like a slob or acting quite lawlessly, and so you really feel like you're starting to fall behind on your level up journey because you don't really have a level up buddy. Is this what you've been experiencing? In today's episode, I have a little bit of a different format for you. As some of you may know, I do have a podcast called Bloom and Tell because I've noticed the more in my life that I bloom, the more that I want to tell about it. And so in my most recent podcast that just went live, I brought on my friend Alex. And if you've been listening to some of the episodes over the past year, you would know I've brought up Alex in almost every episode. Now here's one of the reasons why I'm bringing Alex to the podcast and to this YouTube channel. Because your level up journey is 1, more fun with friends. 2, they can pour into you and you can pour into them. 3, I've noticed that so many people in this space online are just regurgitating the same old tips, the same old tricks. And so talking to someone who has tips and tricks that you're not hearing online is so refreshing. So in this first snippet of my podcast episode with Alex, I want you to hear all about how this relationship formed and specifically how you're able to use the power of social media to leverage your network, to leverage your elegant friendships and start finding people that you can have as your level up buddy. I just feel like I need to carve out space to honor you and express gratitude for you just being you and putting yourself out there online and being so gracious in this new friendship. Because one of the things that I really want to champion this year is that the world is so lonely, number one. And it can be hard to make friends that have similar interests to you where you're at. And the power of the internet is amazing. But in order for the internet to do internet things, people have to be willing to put themselves out there online. And I love that you document the things that you're interested in. I love that you document the things that you're implementing in your life to be more elegant, be more classy, and have a leveled up way of going through life. So I think even though the internet is powerful, without you putting yourself out there online, I probably wouldn't have followed you back. I probably wouldn't have just got to know you, and it's been really lovely.
That's really honoring to hear because I started watching you pre-COVID days when I've always been an Anna Bay fan, and then when it came to she was the person who was talking about being elegant and leveling up, which is I feel like she kind of started the whole leveling up yourself journey online. And then when she created her courses and I started to look them up thinking, is this worth an investment, particularly because they were so expensive. And unlike most online courses, hers are, they've got a price tag to them. Mm-hmm. And you were the only person who was actually talking about it and then talking about other topics as well, but not to just the point of, being elegant is around wearing elegant and timeless clothes and speak politely. You went more in depth in the way that Anna Bay talks about it, but also in the way that I think about it. And then when we connected, it was like, oh my gosh, I've made a friend who's as interested in this world and all of the the nuances in it and and where it all comes from, the history. Yeah, I'm just so grateful. It's sad that we live in different countries, but we catch up enough. So
now, if you have been anywhere on the internet lately, you have seen there are people that are trying to start communities. But here's the thing that I've noticed with some of these other creators' communities, whether it be I've signed up to someone's Patreon, maybe I've taken a course and I get access to their community, etc. The thing that I have learned is that to actually make the effort to connect with someone, there has to be an incentive there. Otherwise, it totally feels like you're going on a blind date. So in some of the programs that I've been in where there has been a community feature attached to it, besides seeing someone's profile picture and their little bio, which by the way, most people don't actually know how to write an appropriate bio about themselves, at least not one that is engaging enough that it makes you go and seek out where they are other places on the internet. But that's a totally different topic. But getting back to my point, most people don't give anyone an incentive to go get to know them better. And if you see a bio that just says, "Hi, I'm so-and-so and I like elegant things, timeless style, and going out for nice dinners," that's not enough incentive to spark a conversation. And it just ends up feeling like a blind date. And we're too busy for that. And number two, we already use up so much energy in our day-to-day lives maintaining the relationships that we have already. I've heard a study that people can actually only cope with about 120 connections in their day-to-day lives, and everybody else kind of falls by the wayside. And you might be thinking, wow, 120 people, that's a lot of people. But in reality, this is all of your coworkers, this is your partner, your partner's family, your partner's coworkers, etc. I sat down and did this in my household, and we got to the 120 figure so quickly. And so you have to understand that there has to be an incentive, there has to be a lure, there has to be something to motivate someone to get to know you. And do you ever watch other content creators and you see their personal grooming routines, maybe the salons they're going to, the treatments that they're getting, and you think that's great, but maybe my lifestyle just does not account to that. I don't have the budget for it, I don't have the time for it, and so on. This is one of the reasons why I loved talking to Alex about her personal grooming routines, because that girl always looks on point. And not only that, she shares on her social media how she does it efficiently, how she does it on a budget, and therefore how she does these things sustainably. Because I've noticed the reasons why we tend to let these things fall by the wayside is because we haven't done it in a sustainable fashion. We don't have the time for it, we don't have the budget for it, and therefore we don't do it. So in this next clip, you're going to hear all about how Alex puts certain systems into place that allow her to look polished and poised as often as possible.
For me, how I present myself is really important because it's a door opener, in my opinion. I will, on average, never be the smartest, the tallest, or the prettiest, or most eloquent person in the room, but I can give myself the best fighting chance by putting in an effort with my grooming and making an impression that shows that I have made the effort when I turned up. So every single time when I leave the house, I do aim to have a very put together look. And ultimately, how you leave the house in a factor of, let's say, 20 minutes of getting ready, ultimately depends on the work and effort that you put in prior to that. So for me, the most important thing that I would say to everybody is your hair matters. It really does. It's like the best accessory you can have. You could have on literally a t-shirt and jeans and maybe some mules, and if you have a really good blow dry going on, you just look put together. You really do. So I would say have a really good hairdresser that you honestly trust with your life. Use the products that they recommend and make sure that you're putting in that hour, whatever it is per week, or multiple times per week to have your hair in a good state. And if you can use dry shampoo to just keep it lasting for as long as possible, I'd say, like, for me, hair is really big. I don't think anyone should underestimate how good they feel when they leave the hairdresser. And I think it's always life-changing when I leave the hairdresser, seeing how much you can do at home to bring that confidence and impact with you. And then as far as other routines, generally for me, because I am so pale, although you might not believe it looking at me, I do have a fake tan on. I'm very pale. So for me, looking healthy glow is a fake tan. And I I try to do that once per week for myself. It's I have a fake tan that lasts a little bit longer, so that's one thing, and that's also a really nice base. If you've got your skin, your overall body skin looking good, particularly in summer, and then you have your hair looking good, those are your best accessories. Those are the main things that people can see of you from afar, right? That it's not the little details that they're necessarily looking at. They can just see the overall appearance. So nice skin, nice hair. And if you're low contrast like myself, I would say get your eyelashes tinted, get your eyebrows tinted or done, whatever you need to do. And if you have your hair looking good, your overall skin looking good, and the features that define your face, leaving the house with a little bit of makeup, a little tiny bit of mascara, a bit of concealer, a little bit of lip gloss, you will look put together with the bare minimum. I'm not a full glam person. I do full glam very seldom. I can do it, but I don't do it very often. For me, it's about a little bit of eyebrow, a little bit of mascara, a little bit of lips, cover the under eye bags, and I just let everything else, the work that I've done for, let's say, maximum an hour and a half of my week, the prep, the skin, the hair, that I feel pulls it all together, and it looks like I've made more effort than I actually have, because ultimately I did the work earlier on in the week.
I'm not able to go as long with my hair because I do have fine hair and I wear extensions, so I do have to do it about twice a week, so it is a little bit more of a drain on my time. But I completely agree. I feel like when you have just those few things, that it makes you glow with like vitality, that people just naturally are like wow and drawn to you. And it's not the makeup. Like no one looks at your eyeshadow and is like, wow, she's full of life, So I do completely agree. I think that people can be beautiful without the self tan as well. However, I think it's just that internal glow that it gives you. I do obviously, I love your tan because it's done in a classy way. It's not orange. And so I think that we need to like also kind of
understand the difference between an orange tan and a natural tan. And as someone as experienced as you in cosmetology, I mean, there's green based tan, there's violet tans, there's more the orange based tan. So depending on your skin type, you need to work out what looks best on you.
I totally agree. I was trying to be so diplomatic about it, but I see some wild tans here in England and it's crazy. But I think because they see their favorite influencers using a certain tan and then they don't do the homework to find out what base color it has, then it just goes all wrong. Things that I'm finding so life-giving on a level up journey with friends is the fact that they can tell you something that you've never heard anywhere else, and they can really pour into you. And in this next clip of the podcast episode with Alex, you are going to hear all about how Alex goes about finding items that contribute to her personal style, but equally how she navigates and ensures that she looks at her best always. Because it's so easy to fall into the trap of being one person in front of a screen like this, being one person when you're at work or one person when you go out with your friends. But I want you to ask yourself this question. If a delivery driver was to show up at your house, what state are you in? Do you look good? Do you look put together? Or is that only something that you hold yourself to when you're outside of the house? Keep watching to hear what Alex had to say about it.
Thank you. I do like to be put together. I think you can only fall down as far as you let yourself. And what I mean by that is if you allow yourself to own ugly, ill-fitting, bad quality, falling to part pieces, when you're in a mood where you literally don't care, that's what you'll go to, and that's what you're wearing when all of a sudden you start bumping into people or you have, deliveries coming. And if you allow yourself to hold on to things because, it might just be handy for when I'm doing this, or it might just be handy for when I'm doing that, then ultimately when you don't feel like it and you just want to be comfortable, those are the pieces that you'll go to, and they never make you feel good when you're wearing them. So my recommendation is having a higher standard for you at like the bottom of the hill. So like when you're having the worst time, can you get your yourself like the most luxurious pajamas or loungewear that you can afford that looks presentable and still makes you feel like the version of yourself that you want to be. In my opinion, I think you need to think about yourself in all stages of life, and that you're not always going to be out and about being glamorous having dinner. You're also going to be running errands. You're also going to be lounging around at home. You're also going to be working at home. So don't just invest your money and time into thinking about how you want to be looking when you're taking Instagram photos or when you're out at dinner, but actually looking at how your life is spent and investing in the time where you're actually not seeing people in person, so that you have a high standard for, even if you were the only person on the earth, you'd still care and respect yourself enough to say, this is a standard that I've set for myself, and this is how I feel my best, and this is ultimately how I present myself the best.
Did you see this meme going around on Instagram a few weeks ago? I'm not going to lie to you, I felt so personally convicted. Because at the end of the day, the delivery drivers know. They know the truth. And I'm not talking about when they show up unexpected and you've got a face mask on, because of course, those things will happen. But I am talking about when they show up on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and you're in that same hoodie that you're wearing all throughout the week. Your hair isn't done, you don't have a stitch of makeup on, and let's be honest, there's still a little bit of sleep in your eye. In this next clip, you're going to hear how Alex stays elegant at home, and the systems that she puts into place, and maybe the lifestyles and the convictions that she lives by that allows her to show up as her best as often as possible.
Have you seen that meme going around on Instagram this week? And it's like, no one has seen you at your worst, like your delivery driver, your local delivery driver. And I felt so seen by that, because honestly, like, I can come and look presentable here, but the delivery drivers know, they know when I slack. And then the other thing I wanted to add was, and I've shared this on my channel and whatnot, I just had surgery and I picked up a few sweat pieces from Primark because my abdomen was really swollen and I didn't want to be dealing with any type of pressure there. And I am wearing those sweats all the time now, because as you said, like, it's, if you have it and it's easy, you'll just end up making that the standard, and it's so easy to slip into that. And then, sorry, the other thing I wanted to just speak to is I love Jennifer L. Scott. I've shared tons of her reading materials on my channel, and she really championed something called the 10-item wardrobe, which I think you follow her as well. And that was the first mistake that I made with me following her 10-item wardrobe, is I bought so many items that were for Nicole outside of the house instead of Nicole, who works at home 4 days a week and doesn't leave the house. And I would be in the house in my like leather pants and silk top, and that's nice. But again, I live in England. The houses are made out of brick. It's very damp and it's very cold. And then I ended up just putting my hoodie on top of my nice clothing, and it was like, what is the point? And so I think that it's these moments that make you feel inauthentic. It's these moments that make you feel like you're cosplaying, because you're like, well, what am I dressing up in the house for when this isn't practical? This isn't appropriate for the occasion. So bringing it back to what you just said is having those items that are realistic, but leveled up. What did you say? Like, they're not the bottom of the hill type of items. How can you elevate that slightly?
And it's about I completely agree. And you posted something really good recently about Crocs. Now, do we all want to be wearing Crocs out in public? I know Justin Bieber's a really big fan, and, Post Malone, and there are some people who absolutely love wearing them. For me, that doesn't align with my style. But if I had a garden like you do, they would be probably some of the most appropriate footwear for me to go around the garden in.
Yeah.
So I think it's about and this is something that we often see the Princess of Wales doing. Often people are like, although those sneakers aren't classy, it's all about the appropriate time. And what is the classiest and most elegant thing you can wear is the most practical for that occasion.
Exactly.
So if you are at home, what is practical for you to be wearing? And we can get into, how you can build up an affordable and timeless and elegant and also true and authentic wardrobe for everything at home on a budget, because it is possible. I think people think that they have to, well, I don't want to, like, that's going to cost so much money. I can't afford like a cashmere set. It's not necessarily about doing that. And you can work your way. You can work your way up to that. It's about, can I start making decisions that reflect the woman who I want to be at all moments of my life, so that at least I'm not wearing, you know, something that's covered in paint, that's faded, that has a bleach mark on it. That's, the worst item I could have chosen. And I will say I'm not perfect. I did have a delivery yesterday when I was in my pajamas with my fake tan on. So you're not always going to be perfect for Mr. Delivery Man. But can you run, you know, that late night supermarket errand when you're not in like a velour tracksuit and Uggs? Like, could you potentially be wearing something else? So it's things like that I think are worth thinking about when you're looking at your wardrobe.
Well, my friends, there was your small little taste test of the conversation that I had with my friend Alex. If you haven't connected with her already, her handles will be listed for you in the description box down below. If you want to hear the podcast episode in full, which I highly encourage you to do so, it was so good, I will also have my podcast listed for you in the description box down below. So what are your thoughts? Do you see the benefits of having a friend or a level up buddy? One that is elegant, that can pour into you and you can pour into them? If you don't have one, what actions are you going to put into place to find one? Social media is one of the easiest ways that you can go about finding a level up buddy, an elegant friend, and even more. However, there will be certain actions that you need to take in order to make it enticing enough for the other party. Anyways, my friends, that is it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. A little bit of a different format. I have a few more guests lined up for you. I'm filming one tomorrow. I'm filming one the week after that. And so I do hope that you are enjoying this format. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.